Alright, here we got the iPhone 4 with its broken screen. Don't hold it right there where you can see it for the light. Then also ordered the new replacement screen for the iPhone 4 replacement LCD. Nothing wrong with it. We're going to put this on here. And before we get started, all the tools, you can buy the kit on eBay. I got for $6. Has everything you need from the small little screwdrivers to take out the screws, flatheads, and also has a little dang suction cup to pull the back right off. Not only that, it has a kit in here to take your SIMs card. Now first what you need is turn off the battery. Everybody knows that when you work in cars. Anything that has to do with anything, you turn off the battery. Or turn off the phone is what I mean. So let me do that real quick. That voice control. Slide to power off. And then the next step, after it's completely shut off, is to take, you can do SIMs card or the battery. I'm going to do the SIMs card after it turns off. Eventually it'll get there. Still has a little loading screen. Gonna go ahead and set these up real quick. Right over here. Get those out the way. And you take the small little pin or something, anything small, and poke in this little hole, it's going to pop right out. And that works. Usually it comes out a lot easier than that. There's a small little pin inside of it. You can't really see it from here. But if you push this little, there's a small pin, it goes forward and backwards. And when you put the SIM card in, you always want to make sure you push it back behind it. Now I'm going to put the SIMs and its holder right on the top left. Try to keep everything together. I'm going to take the small screw and just take, there's two bolts at the end. You're going to take both of these out. Alright, sorry about that guys. The two little strips that were on the bottom were stripped. The two little, what you call it, screws. So eventually I had to drill one out. The other one was able to get out after an hour 30 minutes. Anyway, I tested the phone, it still works. Make sure it's still off, because I know I turned on a few times when I was trying to take the back off. And what we're going to do is just undo the battery. There's a little clip right here. Not a clip, but this shiny silver thing. There's a little screw right there. You're going to take that off. And then it's going to release the battery where you can just pluck it right out. So let's go ahead and do that. And one thing to take note, these screws are very small, but they're very variable. So, since I wasted two of my screws, I'm just going to chuck those. The other screws, I'm going to make note, put them in separate places of where they go. So I got this little Sharpie right here. So I'm just going to mark that right here. Battery. That way I won't lose none of mine, because the first time I ever put together an iPhone, after taking it apart, half the screws were still on the table, believe it or not. I'm just going to use this flathead right here, pop this little piece off. And once that is done, you can go ahead and start with the battery. Underneath the battery, just pop that right out, or you can pull this thing, whichever one you feel comfortable with. Pop! There's a battery. Gotta put that right over here. We all know what that is. Don't need to make a note of it. Second step, just unscrew all the little things. There's another silver piece right here that it will do really nicely. Just unscrew all of that. And that's exactly what we're going to do. And there's, let's see how this one is. There's a antenna, a very small antenna, but it's right behind the battery shield. Get that. Put that over here. Don't know if you guys can see it or not, but it's right here. And what you're going to do is pop that off, but make sure you pop it back in, because if you don't pop it off, then that's You might get no service, no shoes, no shirt, no service. And I'm just gonna unscrew all these little screws with these silver shields are. Gonna keep my screws where they go, right up here. That way, I'll put them back in, I have an idea which screw I have. What's next will be disconnect all the little connectors. There's a connector right here. There's a few others right here. Just pop them out. The flathead. Let's start with the battery charger thing. There's two. There's a screw right here. And if I bet you if I move this, yep, there's a screw right over here underneath this antenna. Kind of hard to see, but you know when you see it. Now, let's see if this back part will come out. Gently now, though. Don't want to tear anything up. Put these screws right over there. Perfect. What's next? This processor. This long piece of board right there is your processor. Pop that out. Maybe more screws. Double check everywhere, because I promise you there's always that one screw is like, I'm not going to let you do anything. Da-da! Processor goes right there. Screw goes on the right side, so I know what that is. Next step, there are several of these small, painful screws right here. They also have, it's about, this one has 6, looks like, maybe more. Gonna take all those out. And when that's done, we'll go from there. Yeah, there's one thing I did forget that I found on it a while back. Is that there's a Phillips screw actually located right here. So here's the processor, and here's the Phillips screw right there. When you take the motherboard out, I didn't do that. I just kind of yanked it out, but it seems to be okay because there's no problems with it so far. So I'm happy with it. Anywho, let's continue. There it goes. Oh my god. It finally came off. Almost. Almost. Be careful when you jerk it. Not to. When you pull this out right here, there's a little piece that goes here and through whatever this little spot is. It's an opening. Maybe you can see it better. Right through here. That's where that little thing goes. Oh, the button's still on. Gotta throw this away. just a little button. How cute. Either way, let's put this brand new one on. First thing I'm going to do is peel this off. Careful not to touch it. Put these two wires through the little strip right here I was telling you about. Make sure it's all pulled. The worst thing that could happen is you get all this stuff in there, come realize that there's a piece just kind of bent. Slide all this back in its spots. Fortunately, my things seem to be bent down here. Get off.